Alright, what is going on, my dudes? We are back here today with another CCP video, okay? So I am going to be going over Black Widow Deadly Origin for you guys today. Now, I only have this character because Kabam sent her to me through the use of the Content Creator Program, okay? So I can make some videos on her, test her out, give some feedback, and make some videos for you guys so I can let you know what I think about the character so you can make informed decisions on whether or not you want to either grind for her or buy some crystals for this character. Alright, so let's jump right into her today, okay? So, first of all, she looks great. Alright, I think the design team did an absolutely incredible job and really captured Black Widow's essence in this character. Her batons are very cool, they're very sparkly, they remind me of Thor Jane Foster, and that makes me very happy. Let's just jump in and talk about her abilities, okay? So first things first, we'll look at her SIG ability like always, okay? Red Room Training increases the potency of sabotage debuffs, increasing direct damage done when abilities fail to trigger by 120%. Alright, increase the duration of sabotage debuffs by 80%. Landing hits while Widow's Insight is active pauses sabotage debuffs for 0.5 seconds. Half a second. Now, we'll go over what all of those things mean and what they do when we get to them in the abilities. So, passive. Baton hits deal energy damage instead of physical damage. That makes her a core counter. Alright, right off the bat, okay? She's not going to take damage from thorns. So they also have a 40% chance to inflict a shock debuff, dealing 1,000 energy damage for 3.65 seconds. Now, there's only a 40% chance to inflict shock with those. Keep that in mind. So it doesn't happen every time. Widow's Insight, max 50 stacks. Black Widow's Covert Assassin training kicks in whenever the perfect opportunity to strike presents itself. Gain Widow's Insight for 0.85 seconds whenever the opponent is dashing forward or recovering from a heavy, special, or combo-ending attack. This ability refreshes its duration when successfully landing hits. Widow's Insight is not affected by ability accuracy, so you're going to see this most often when you're punishing special attacks, when you're baiting out heavy attacks, etc., etc., etc. It basically comes automatically. You're not going to be going into the fight looking to build up your Widow's Insight. It's going to be building up naturally, okay? So while Widow's Insight is active, the light hits increase shock ability accuracy by a flat 60%, and medium hits reduce defensive ability accuracy by 70%. Heavy hits have a 100% chance to inflict a stun debuff for 1.75 seconds, and ending a combo has a 100% chance to grant a precision buff, increasing crit rating by 273 for 24 seconds, max of 8 stacks. So what would that be? About 2,200 give or take crit rating increase if you have all of the stack. So basically what all of that means, let's just make it very simple. If you have Widow's Insight active, if you do a light attack, you're gonna land a shock. If you do a medium attack, there's gonna be about 90% reduced defensive ability accuracy. And if you punish somebody's heavy attack with your heavy attack, you're going to stun them, similar to the way you do with Captain Marvel movie. I know it doesn't read like that, but that's what it means. Let's talk about the counter attack evade here. Okay, when caused to miss, gain a passive evade, granting 100% chance to evade the next basic attack for 8 seconds. After triggering an evade, this effect is removed. Evade does not trigger while holding block. So this is great when you're fighting Gilly 2099 or Invisible Woman or anybody else who you miss with. You also get that passive evade on the special one, and we'll talk about that when we get there. But basically, you miss, you get the evade, they go to punish your miss, and then you do like a flashbang kind of thing. Similar to like Elsa Bloodstone when you parry. Here, look, see, when triggering an evade, Black Widow counterattacks with a flashbang. This attack cannot miss and does not generate power. When triggering an evade through any of Black Widow's personal evade abilities, inflict a sabotage debuff, reducing defensive ability accuracy by 20% for 6 seconds. Sabotage deals 26.8 direct damage whenever an opponent's defensive abilities fail to trigger. Yes, that is 26.8. So this goes in with the medium. So medium hits reduce defensive ability accuracy by 70%, and you put that with the so you combine that with the sabotage, and that makes it 90% reduced ability accuracy reduction. That's gonna work for things like against like the Thing, where if you were to hit him with a medium attack, you really wouldn't trigger his rock stack, 90% chance not to trigger his rock stack. But she's not the best Thing counter in the world, so don't even get that through your mind because you don't want to use her for Thing. Let's talk about her special one, okay? The last hit inflicts a shock debuff, dealing 1,340 energy damage over 13 seconds. At the end of the special attack, gain a passive evade, granting 100% chance to evade any basic attack for 6 seconds. After triggering this evade, the effect is removed. Evade will not trigger while blocking. That's a good thing, because it's really annoying when you're trying to block or parry and you evade, like when you're using Spider-Man, OG Spider-Man. So this is a good special attack to use when you're using Black Widow. The evade is very nice. You can't really punish the opponent after you do your evade. When you're using Elsa Bloodstone and you do your parry flashbang thing, you can go right in with the combo. But like when you're using Wasp and you evade, you know how you can't immediately go into a combo? It's kind of the same feel here. But the evade is nice because it gets that sabotage debuff on the opponent. Let's talk about the special attack 2 now. Deal 2,500 as a burst of shock damage when striking shocked opponents. So, you obviously want to use this special attack while the opponent has a shock on them. Remember, while the Widow's Insight is active, you're going to have pretty much 100% chance to inflict shock on every light attack. So you want to do like medium, light, special 2. If Widow's Insight is active, all hits reduce defensive ability accuracy by 70%. If you're going for damage, you really want to just get the Widow's Insight up, you want to get the sabotage on the opponent, and you want to do like medium, light, special 2. There's going to be a lot of burst damage, right, from that passive shock damage. There's going to be a lot of damage in there. Alright, let's talk about the special attack 3 now. Inflict a sabotage debuff, reducing defensive ability accuracy by 20% for 16 seconds, dealing 26 direct damage when the opponent's defensive abilities fail to trigger. Again, that is 26. 26.8, not 26,000, not 2,600, not 26 million, 26. 26. So you bring her into Act 6, you go up against champs with 300,000 health, and you do 26 damage whenever a defensive ability fails to activate. 26. For every 5 stacks of Widow's Insight gained since last activating this special attack, create a passive cruelty, increasing critical damage rating by 400 for 30 seconds. Widow's Insight is reset to 0 after launching this special attack. So ideally what you want to do is you want to build up your Widow's Insight up to 50. You want to toss off this special 3, and then you're going to have 10 stacks of this. So you're going to increase your critical damage rating by about 4,000 as a rank 3 5-star for 30 seconds. So here's the thing, that's some decent damage output. However, that takes a lot of build up, and it also requires a special 3 after a lot of build up, and it only lasts for 30 seconds. So make of that what you will, okay? Alright, let's talk about her synergies here, okay? There's one with Red Guardian, where Black Widow starts the fight with her passive evade, active until triggered. That's cool. That's really nice. You know, you could possibly start the fight not even touching the device and just letting the opponent hit you. And you can start with the sabotage debuff on the opponent. That could be a decent way to start the fight, but I don't have Red Guardian yet, so there's no way for me to really test that out for you guys. Let's see. Remember Me. Black Widow Deadly Origin. Each time Black Widow strikes with Widow's Insight active, she gains 2% of a bar of power. This is really great for Black Widow. It's a great synergy for her. It really does increase her power gain rate. You know, she has Widow's Insight active for most of the fight, so she's basically going to be having plus 2% power gain for the entire fight. So that's nice for her. It's also a pretty decent synergy for Taskmaster as well. You know, each time he exploits a weakness, Taskmaster has a 30% chance to inflict a sabotage debuff for 10 seconds, reducing defensive ability accuracy by 20% for 10 seconds, and dealing 10% of attack as direct damage when abilities fail to trigger. So if you have a Taskmaster at stake 200, this is going to be a really nice synergy for you. Remembering Budapest, great name for the synergy. Reduce the potency of incoming bleed debuffs by 10%. Reduce the potency by an additional 10% if Ronin or Hawkeye is dead. That's really great for people who run the Suicide Masteries for obvious reasons. Ronin and Hawkeye increase the duration of bleed and disorient debuffs by 10%. Gain an additional 30% duration if Black Widow is dead. So that's nice for if you ever use Ronin or Hawkeye. I know not too many people use them, but if you do, that could be a nice, decent buff to them. Alright, Covert Expertise is like a decent synergy with 4 champions that need as much help as they can possibly get, and all it ends up really doing is increasing their critical damage rating by 450 for 12 seconds, and it doesn't make Captain America, Iron Man, Falcon, or Black Panther any better. And that's just the truth. Let's see here. It's complicated. All champions gain 60 armor rating and 3% power gain. Whoop-de-doo. Rivals. All champions 150 critical damage rating. Whoop-de-doo. Alright, so we're going to take her into some 6.3 gameplay now. This is obviously going to be the Thunderstruck lane, which is, you know, still one of the tougher lanes in all of Act 6 if you don't have a counter. The only synergies I'm bringing is that Taskmaster one for just 2% increased power gain, and the Ronin one just to take away some of the damage from my bleed suicides, okay? So really, these synergies, you don't need them at all, and they're not doing much at all for Black Widow for me. Alright, so obviously, with this lane, we only do damage when we have shock debuffs on the opponent, and they're a little bit more potent. So here, I'm baiting out that heavy attack, countering with my heavy attack. I had Widow's Insight active, so I got that stun, and I also put some shocks on Deadpool as well. So here, I'm just baiting out that special attack, and I have my special 2 in the bank. I want to get a shock on Deadpool before I toss off that special 2, so I get all that passive shock damage. You can see all those red numbers, those are all passive damage. That was a pretty decent special 2 right there, right? So as you can see, her animations are very smooth and she's very actually fun to play. So her damage output might not look the best, but overall those shocks do kind of add up. Now, one thing about the shocks though is that, you know, this is Thunderstruck, so her shocks don't always look this impressive, but here they look pretty good, especially for rank 3. So here, as you can see, whenever she has the Widow's Insight active, she really just stacks those shocks up. And I already have my 50 Widow's Insight built up, and I wasn't trying to stack them at all. They just come naturally. So that's one thing I do like about the champion. I like how they come very naturally. Here we're tossing off another one of those big special 2s. Boom, 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 boom. Lots of passive shock damage. Deadpool has about, you know, 25% health left. He's about to regen a lot, of course, because he's Deadpool. One thing about Black Widow is that if you do have to spare at 7 out of 7, she does 7 out of 7, 3 out of 3. If you have 7 shocks on the opponent, well, then you're going to be blocking all healing. So that's one master that's very good for Black Widow Deadly Origin. Here we're tossing off another big special 2. Keep in mind, whenever he does have the regen buff on this node, okay, he is going to be unblockable, so I can't really parry much in this fight. Here I'm tossing off a special 1, and I'm going to get that passive evade now. I'm going to let him hit into me so I can put the sabotage on him. There we go, there's that sabotage. Go in, medium, medium, light, 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 light. Throw off the special 1, get that shock, and kill him off. So as you can see right there, Black Widow did pretty good against this fight, man. You know, she took down that Deadpool in about 90 seconds, about 2 minutes. You know, her shock debuffs, they did have increased potency there. Alright, what is going on, my dudes? So I'm recording this video here for you guys 24 hours after you watched that video, the one with her versus Deadpool and me going over all of her abilities for you guys. And the reason why is because the Act 7 beta dropped, and when the Act 7 beta dropped, I still had my rank 3 Black Widow on that server. And I said to myself, you know what, I'm going to take her up to rank 5, and I'm going to give her another chance, okay? I originally made a whole section of this video that was going to go right here, ranting about how disappointed I was with this character anywhere outside of Thunderstruck and just her damage in general, how I felt it was so underwhelming. But this is why I waited. I took her up to rank 5 and I was impressed, and I was much happier with her damage output, and she's turned into a champion that I actually really enjoy playing. So here's the thing, man. At rank 3, whenever she's in a fight that she's not like ideal for, like Thunderstruck for example, boost her damage. When she's not in that fight, as you can see with this rank 3 Winter Soldier video, she's pretty underwhelming. You know, her sabotage debuffs don't do anything, her shock damage is low, her basic hits hit like crap, but at rank 5, her basic hits still kinda hit like crap, and the sabotage debuff damage pretty much might as well not even be there. However, her damage over time from her shocks goes through the roof. It's ticking for like around 1,000 or more per second, and the passive damage from the special 2 is absolutely enormous. Now, unfortunately, I can't take her up against Winter Soldier or anywhere else in Act 6 as a rank 5 on the beta server, but I can take her all over the current Act 7 beta. Now, unfortunately, there aren't too many lanes that she's amazing for in the first quest of Act 7 as of right now. But there are a couple lanes where she gets by, and on those paths where she gets by, she does a pretty good job. Now, I have a lot of footage recorded from the Act 7 beta with Black Widow. I'm going to put that together. It's going to be a rank 5 video, just so you can see her damage output without any boosts from any nodes to show you how she does so you can make a better judgment for yourself as a maxed out 5-star. And I'll give you my review right now on her. I really like this champion as a maxed out 5-star. I really dislike this champion as a rank 3 5-star. And you know what? That's okay, and that doesn't hurt her much in my mind. You know, when Corvus first came out, people tested him out as a 4-star against Winter Soldier, and he was so underwhelming that his first round arena score went for like 14 million points. Here, I was testing out a rank 3 Black Widow against Winter Soldier, and she looked pretty underwhelming. But then I took her up to rank 5 in the beta server, and she looked pretty freaking good against normal fights where she didn't have a boost. So here's the thing, alright? I think that she is the best option for Thunderstruck right now. I think that she's a pretty decent option for diss track, any diss track lane in general, like in map 7, AQ for example. I think she has above average damage with very solid damage over time. She's also a pretty decent miss counter. Okay, you just have to be careful with this because she isn't the best miss counter, because if they're over a bar of power, you can still get specialed in the face. But if they're under a bar of power, she's a great counter to like Gilly 2099, Invisible Woman, and anybody else who goes invisible or makes you miss. So here's the verdict, man. Even at rank 5, when her damage is very nice to look at, I still only want to bring her into fights where she's perfect for. Why? Because probably if you're ranking a Black Widow, you probably already have your main damage dealers covered. She's not going to replace Ghost or Corvus or any other lane clearers in your roster. She's not going to be doing as much damage over time as Nick Fury. But what she brings to the table is 90% defensive ability accuracy reduction in certain situations and the ability to counter miss, and at the same time have some pretty decent damage over time going on along with that. So let's break down where you're going to actually use this character, okay? In Act 6 100%, there's at least 2 lanes where you could easily make lots of use for her as probably the best option. Alliance Quest Map 7, there's a diss track she could be decent for, but aside from that, not too much. We have Alliance War Attack. You know, she could be decent for all those Guillotine 2099s, potentially. Alliance War Defense, she could be alright on certain nodes with her evade from the Special 1. Her hit count and damage take her out of Abyss. She's not great for Labyrinth. She's not fast for potion farming, so no Realm of Legends either. So far, in what we've seen of Act 7, she doesn't look too useful there. But I guess there are going to be certain times where you might want to reduce the opponent's defensive ability accuracy. I'm not sure. It's still all very new. We're going to have to wait and see, you know? So is she the best champion to be released in the past few years? Absolutely freaking not. But is she a very above average, decent champion that's very nice to have and worth a rank up? Absolutely. I still think she's one of the best champions we've had in 2020, mostly because most of them have been pretty underwhelming. In my opinion, I believe it's going to go Mojo as number 1, Longshot number 2, and probably Black Widow as number 3 for me. So I think that she's the 3rd best champion that was released this year, simply because her ability accuracy reduction at 90% can be potentially useful. She can also counter miss as well pretty reliably. And at rank 5, she has some killer damage output, but nobody's going to be ranking this girl up because of her damage output. I'm letting you know that right now. There are better options for damage and damage over time, but she's probably the best option for shock damage. So that's something. In my mind, even at rank 5, she is made for Thunderstruck, she is made for Distract, she is there to be a miss counter if you like really don't have any other options, and she does all of that with some pretty above average damage. She's never going to be the best option to bring into any other situation, but she'd be able to do it. And that's important because in the past we've had utility champions that can do their fights that they're made for. Like example, Mole Man is probably the best option for Mesmerize, but you're not going to want to use him anywhere else. With Black Widow, she'll be the best option for Thunderstruck, but you can easily use her on any other generic lane and have a pretty fun time doing it. Her animations are very smooth, she's very easy to play, very stress-free, and she's fun to look at. So my dudes, that was my review on Black Widow Deadly Origin. I think overall at rank 5, as 6-star rank 2, possibly rank 3, I think she's a very good champion to have. one of the better champions, in my opinion, we've had in 2020. If you enjoyed this video, my dudes, please do me a favor and leave it a like. Comment what you think about Black Widow, if you're going to be opening any crystals for her, and subscribe if you want to see some of that rank 5 Black Widow gameplay coming to you tomorrow.